Welcome to this third video in my series on Super Audio CD. In the first part, I discussed what Super Audio CD is and what it can offer over the previous format, the compact disc. I also looked at the different types of SACDs on the market, how SACD works, as well as a brief look at hardware. In part 2, I discussed buying Super Audio CD hardware and software. This video deals with enjoying what is perhaps the greatest advantage of listening to Super Audio CD, multi-channel playback. A multi-channel system refers to a hi-fi system that simply has more than two speakers. SACDs can be listened to in 3, 4, 5, or 6 channels for multi-channel listening. The 6th channel is usually a subwoofer, also known as the LFE channel for its low frequency effects. You can set up your system in several different configurations. The best, though, is to have at least 5 full-size speakers capable of handling low bass frequencies, 2 front speakers, 2 rear surround speakers, and a center channel between those 2 front speakers. For many, a subwoofer is not necessary. With the proper bass management system in your player, these lower frequencies can be redirected to those speakers which are large enough to reproduce very low sounds. Although it is best to set up your multi-channel speaker system with all large speakers of the same size and type, you can still enjoy a multi-channel SACD with 2 large front speakers and 2 small rear speakers mounted on the wall. The center channel can also be small or large. Even all 5 of the speakers could be small. In this case, I would recommend an LFE channel to reproduce the lowest bass sounds and effects that the small speakers cannot. Sending very low bass frequencies can damage small speakers. When setting up your multi-channel system, refer to your owner's manual on the settings for different speaker sizes. You will need an amplifier that has a 6-channel input like the one I mentioned in my previous video. Use quality audio cables and simply hook the corresponding cables to the outputs on the back of your SACD player to the corresponding inputs on your amplifier. That's it. However, the process of getting high quality audio from your SACDs hasn't yet been achieved. Any given room that you set up your multi-channel system in is going to add its own characteristics to the sound. This can have a detrimental effect on the channel balance of each speaker in relation to the others. This is where the channel balance settings in your Super Audio CD player come in. A white noise signal, like this, is usually what is used for balancing each speaker. This white noise is what is played on each speaker in turn, covering each of the speakers in your system. You could attempt to simply listen with your own ears and change the balance settings, but chances are it won't be very accurate. Your speaker system needs to be set to a given reference volume level, usually measured in decibels or dB. The number of decibels of a given signal represents the relative volume of that signal. A good reference level could be anywhere between 70 to 75 decibels. I usually use about 75 decibels myself. Now that you have the knowledge for setting your channel balance, you still need a white noise signal. A multi-channel SACD player usually has a white noise signal, but most of the time the signal is played so briefly to each speaker you will never be able to set it. You will need a Super Audio CD tune-up disc. The disc I use is Stay in Tune with Pentatone. There are other discs like this on the market. There are several test tones and sound effects on this disc. For the purposes of this demonstration, you will need the white noise test tones, which are used for setting your system's multi-channel speaker balance. These tones last approximately 30 seconds each, long enough for you to get an accurate reading of what I am now introducing, a sound level pressure meter, or SPL meter. This device is necessary to get the best possible reproduction out of your SACD multi-channel playback system. There are instructions on how to set this device in the tune-up disc. Consult your audio dealer for further information and assistance. Depending on the SACD player you buy, you can also set not only how many speakers you have, You can also adjust the distance to each speaker, or the balance between the front and rear speakers, or the front speakers and the center channel. You may need to use a tape measure to get the distance in feet to each speaker. Consult the owner's manual for further details on this step. To set the channel balance of your system, start by simply turning on the sound level meter to 70 decibels like this. Begin playing the tune-up disc on the appropriate white noise track and hold the meter in front of you from the best listening position in your room. The best listening position is usually equidistant from each speaker in your multi-channel configuration or as close as possible. Allow each track to play through, and once all the test tones for all 5 speakers is completed, you now have an idea of the volume of each speaker in the system. A good reference level is anywhere from 70 to 75 decibels. You will have to check your manual for instructions on adjusting the volume for each individual speaker. In the end, you should have each speaker adjusted to the same volume level of, say, 74 decibels. It may be hard to get each speaker perfectly set to this reference level. The main thing is to achieve as close a balance as possible with your SPL meter. You may find it very difficult to get an equal balance on every speaker. Adjusting the position of any speaker that is off by a decibel or two can sometimes correct the imbalance. Be prepared to experiment a bit. The rewards are worth the few minutes it takes to set it up. Now that you have adjusted your speaker balance with a tune-up disc, that's it. Remember that if you move your speakers after the tune-up, you may need to perform it again, so avoid moving them if possible. Listening to multi-channel music offers the possibility of a sound listening experience that offers greater depth and realism. If you want to buy Super Audio CDs that have a multi-channel layer, you will need to look at the disc to see if it says whether or not the disc has a multi-channel track on it. These are usually hybrid SACDs. Now you are on your way to listening to high-resolution Super Audio CD recordings in surround sound. From time to time, you may find it helpful to perform this tune-up on your system if you have moved the speakers or simply want to improve the balance of your system. Congratulations and enjoy the music. Thank you.